Good evening, good night, and welcome to another scene set in A Death of a Dark Crusade Season 2. Tonight we find the dear Sister Madelain, ever a humble servant of God, she's walking out of the city to pay a visit to a certain someone, Annabelle's sire, an elder of Clan Salubri, Abraham. And of course, the Salubri domain rests outside the city in the western farmlands. Quite a lush area, but not exactly great for hunting people in. There's a lot of space, but not many people populating it as such. The domain is large, but not actually very efficient. Especially considering many people just go to bed, don't really have anything to do. There isn't much nightlife outside of the city. There is the odd inn and tavern, and that's very much it. But Madelain, you're walking down the dirt path laid out for the many merchants and caravans and wagons that exit and enter the city on a daily basis. As you walk down, you are confronted by a couple of individuals who recognize your face. You don't know them, but they refer to themselves as ghouls of the owners of this domain, and they're asking what you're doing here. Because they don't.
She'll greet them and say, hope that they're having a very good evening, and then she will essentially say that she wants to visit Abraham. Just a social visit, won't take too long.
Because you're being earnest and because you walk down the path, someone wanting to break into this domain would likely dash through the Greenlands or the farms, where it's much less likely to be people, let alone Canaanites. They'll basically just ask you to wait. There's a fence you can lean on. A guy runs off, one of them rides off. And within about 15-20 minutes, he's back. And he will say that while your visit has not been expected, your hospitality has been acknowledged, and you have been permitted to enter a certain chapel and walk down the road to that chapel, although you are not permitted to walk beyond the path and the route you are supposed to take.
She will acknowledge. I just thank them for their guidance, and she will wish them a good evening.
They defer to you. You're still a Canaanite, and they're not. They're just doing their jobs, but they're very respectful and treat you as an honored guest, even before they knew what you were doing here.
Well, if it is clear to where
so you walk along down dirt road. It takes you a few more minutes again. As you walk down this road, it begins to fork out. There are a few hamlets lying around. Recognize this is where people do most of the hunting. There's a farm. There's obviously forks in the road that lead to different farms, although they're quite a distance away. not all of the farms are actually fenced. Not the most secure of areas. But as you head down, you head to a more open area. You can see a small chapel on the edge of a hamlet on top of a hill. But it's more accurate to say it's just outside it rather than on the outskirts of it. And that is where you have been permitted to go.
She will. She won't mix. I mean, there aren't a lot of people around, but
There are. You maybe pass a couple of people, maybe a wagon or two, but that's it. There's not many people out. There's a few people out about in the hamlet. You can see a tavern and an inn. They're definitely alive with activity, but that lies down a route you're not supposed to go. Unless you want to go there. You're not exactly being watched.
She will stave off her curiosity. I don't know. No. She will stay on the path she's been assigned. She won't reach or get close to breaching the domain. So she will find this small chapel. She will greet people if there are any in the way. She will just get inside and see if there's anyone present.
There is a single man in heavy white robes. His hair also covered by heavy white robes. His face is very visible. It's just the same as any overlay. He appears to be sitting before an altar to you presume would be to Christ that has a crucifix on it. He's just sitting there, not looking at the altar, but he actually has his eyes closed. He's not looking at you, but you can tell he sensed your presence. This man is almost certainly a priest. Please spend a willpower.
Spend a willpower?
Yes, you have vengeance.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, that's close enough, but yeah, okay. So I should take a roll or just spend a willpower?
To stop indulging your vengeance for that flaw, it's just spending willpower.
She will.
This guy fits the bill in literally every way, and is literally sitting before an altar to that which you despise. Of course, if he turns out not to be, you'll get that willpower back, but for now, you definitely feel the need to unleash hell upon this person. For how that faith is, in particular, that faith has treated you in the past, but how all faiths would, in your mind. Apart from one.
Yeah, that's totally cool. And in normal fashion, she will just keep on a pleasant and fairly neutral smile, and she won't walk straight up to him, but she will sit down a little ways off until she is addressed to approach.
Well, that is a really good roll.
Wow.
He does have that many dice to that roll. So, Madelain, how are you feeling right now? Please do go into detail.
Yes. As you can clearly see that there is no black lines in her aura. Madelain is feeling. She's feeling excited. And she's feeling relaxed, but at the same time, like in the back of it, there's also excitement and curiosity. Um, and
Would you say because of your vengeance there might be a bit of
yeah,
brand of
there's also a bit
blackmail?
of there's also a bit of anger,
Maybe suspicion. Maybe suspicion. Be like
suspicion,
that.
or
We haven't talked
anger.
to
Then
him
again,
yet.
it's it's prevalent. It's there as well.
Made me curious. Made me a little bit excited. Also a little bit bitter. A little bit angry. But you're trying to mask it. You're trying to quell it. He just opens his eyes towards you. And just stares at you for a little bit. You appear tense. Please take a seat.
Thank you very much. And she will take a seat. She just said, "It is a very good pleasure to meet you. It has been not too long since I returned to the city, and with so many new people here, well, I have not had the time to meet everyone, which is a shame. But I tend to, well, I will endeavor to make amends for this."
You are one of the younger canines I've heard of. You have quite a reputation. Madelain, if I am correct.
Indeed.
A pleasure. I am Abraham, elder of Clan Salubri.
It is a very good honor to meet you, and I must apologize for not sending a message and a formal request to enter the domain. Well,
It would have been appreciated. Our guardians were quite surprised when you showed up at our proverbial gates, or rather exited your own.
well, I must say I must congratulate you. I had the good pleasure of meeting your challenger the other day, uh, a night ago.
Ah, yes, Annabelle. She is a most well behaved child. I hope she left a good impression on you.
Well, mostly I just wished to see who had been such a good teacher. She was remarkably well behaved, as you say yourself. It is not always that you see this in, well, canines of, well, even my own age. I have seen in my time quite a few savages at my age or younger, sometimes older, and well, I am
How true is that statement when you say, when you're kind of talking him up a little bit?
uh, that I mean, the fact it's a little it's made up a little in the sense that, well, Annabelle was well behaved, but she was about as well behaved as Madeline was. But then again, Madeline has met Tor. Like a lot of people from season one that she remembers were,
400 years ago, yeah.
yeah, like she has met a couple that were either not well behaved or just weird or savage in her mind. So there is that, but yeah,
It was just
there's a
something to
little.
analyze considering your anger. Um, and because of your own natural vengeance towards figures of piety like this. I'm glad to see she's doing well.
I was, however, concerned. Uh, I advised her to have at least some form of protection or backup when she was alone in the South Wall slums, which is not the most safe part of town, even for some of our blood. But, well,
That is the Malkavian domain, yes?
I believe it is. Out of character, isn't that the Setites?
No, Suntais is Arab slums.
Ah,
It's the southeastern side of the city.
okay.
Southwest slums is southwest.
Ah, and then she will just confirm and says, I do believe it is. But it's not those. It is merely a general rule. You know, if someone is to breach traditions and, well, people are looking into it, one would subject, one would suspect that a person breaching one tradition might be willing to breach another. And if that is the case, well, one must be careful, especially when one is young.
I believe she was assigned by one of the hounds to investigate the area for evidence of the domain breaches.
Yes, she told me as much.
Hmm. I'm glad to see she's taking the lead on the issue. Gives a very measured smile of kind of faint approval. It's not condescending per se. It's just a very measured sign of approval towards his child. Like it's kind of the minimum being expected of someone. But hey, you did it, so can't fault you for that sort of thing.
Hmm. Pardon, I must apologize for my ignorance, but the conflict that is going on does retain to the surrounding areas, not just within the city walls. No.
Yes.
Well,
The war affects the entire domain, which stretches beyond just the city to the surrounding hamlets, including this one. Of course, here there is peace, which I am glad to see.
I hope that this conflict will end soon. He might be able to tell that she said that more to be polite than she actually really meant that. And I will do a thing with you.
Oh yeah, sure. If it's simply to be polite, then I think his specialty might come into play. I'm one of your roll, buddy.
Uh,
He sees through like freaking.
wow.
He's rolling extremely well. The thing is, that could have been 9 successes if he was actually trying.
Christ.
Um,
Like she
you
says,
rolled well. Like you got 3 successes, but he's just seems to take a
it's
very measured
complete
approach.
courtesy. Like
It's not rude. You're being polite. Yeah, you are being
yeah, being
polite.
polite. It's obviously not something that is on the foremost of her mind, given the fact that her clan is not really involved, but
Yeah, they regular
neutral in the war, so they're not. It's not that big of a deal for her, obviously.
They're just selling arms to both sides. That's all. Oh, one moment.
Intermission.
Intermission of. I myself prefer to focus on less martial pursuits.
Ah, I see.
And more sustainable works.
Hmm.
And academic works.
I see. And you teach your child as well?
Yes.
I might be a little envious of her.
Oh, pardon?
I might be a little envious of your child. My sire did not have so much care as you do.
Few do, and that is among our greatest failings.
So what?
He said few do, and that is among our greatest failings.
Hmm.
It is the responsibility of the sire to look after their child properly. It is so predominant that there is an entire tradition based around it, but unfortunately many miss the point and simply do the bare minimum or less.
My upbringing in our life, our existence was a quite tumultuous one. So one cannot truly, well, I suppose one can blame him for quite a few things, but I was
Well,
not an easy child in the beginning.
few children are, to be fair. But I'm glad to see that you came out of it stronger than when you entered, I hope.
Much stronger. And she will just smile a little too wildly. And she seems to be very confident of that response.
His response to that is a very faint look of concern. It's very measured, like what you've seen from the rest of him this evening. Very emotionally controlled. So forthright.
Is it not our trials, our suffering, our that which challenges us that makes us stronger?
There is a. He kind of gives you a bit of a. What would you say? Slightly suspicious, as he'll just say. Perhaps that is one truth that may be interpreted in many different ways, and in some cases may not be truth at all. It is relative. Absolute truths are rarer than one, I think.
She sits there and just she nods and she just says, "Well, if I had more time, which I wish I had, I believe that we could have a quite lengthy discussion of these things. I would like that if it is possible at some time to have a philosophical discussion, but I will not take any more of your time. Do not worry. And again, the inconvenience of this very impromptu visit, well, I apologize for the inconvenience.
It is quite all right. I welcome the exchange of ideas in a peaceful setting. Before you go, would you wish to pray with me?
Mm. She will. How am I going to do this? God damn you, Chris. All right. Well, let's see.
He seems quite forthright.
Mm-hmm. I bet he does.
What are you rolling?
Oh, damn, I failed.
Is this... His specialty absolutely applies here.
Well, that is a manipulation empathy roll.
He gets 6 successes.
She will just say, I do not, no, it will not be, it would not be proper for me. I will let you have your peace, please. And she will just bow, and it's clear that was what it was, but she will just excuse herself.
It might be considered unsettling for someone to see through you so thoroughly, especially considering this is perhaps the first time this has happened in 100 years. He will simply wave you goodbye, and then begin performing a prayer as you leave, leaving you alone to walk back down the path you came. You can see one of the ghouls guarding the entrance to the hamlet, along with some other guards, but you're not sure if they're ghouls. You just know that was the one you met. And a couple of others. The other one is... You can't see him, actually. He's probably out on patrol or something. But yes, you agree to exchange ideas at a later date. And unless there's anything else you want to do, we can end the scene there with Madelain quite unsettled.
And not rolling very well.
And the elder rolling what he's best at.
Yeah, I believe we can put the scene to an end here.
One last thing before we do. You get that sense of that you're being watched again, but the feeling passes. You don't see any viscosity in your shadow. In fact, you haven't seen it since you've gone to since you came back to the Seneschal.
Yeah, and I out of character, I know what's going on, and I think Madelain has a good idea as well.
No. We'll see what her thoughts are on that later. But the feeling is there, and then it passes. It's literally there for a few seconds as you leave. And then once you begin to walk back down the desired route, the feeling fades. I think that's where we'll call it scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time.